Yo, what up, street dogs? There, Kim. All right, the thought. Follow the money or, conflict of interest. So, to think about conflict of interest is very important because if people are not more transparent about their conflict of interest, the public and society could be easily deceived. So, for example, if there's lobbying groups and I'm anti-lobbying groups, I think lobbying groups should be abolished in America. If you have lobbying groups from the Coca-Cola Corporation affecting American diet nutritional guidelines, certainly there's a huge conflict of interest because this is where it's quite pernicious in the sense that nowadays the thought is, oh, everything in moderation. Now this is bad because would you tell a child heroin in moderation? No. But it's in the best interest of Coca-Cola and the corporations like, oh, one Coke here and there is fine as long as you exercise, whatever. But actually, my thought is all refined sugar is bad, even the natural or the good ones. So there's a huge conflict of interest because even back in the day, I think the sugar, if you study good calories, bad calories, Gary Taubes, it's pretty, yo, what's up, Manny?
Oh, man.
Looking good, dude.
Good to see you.
Yo, you need to get a haircut, it's starting to grow again. So it's hugely problematic because we're getting suckered by these corporations where even what they try to do for a while, because truth be told, saturated fat, cholesterol, sodium is actually not that big of a deal for our diets. And people like cholesterol and kill you, blah, blah. It's not really true. The bigger problem is actually probably diabetes, sugars, and stuff like that. And so what happened was a lot of these sugar corporations, Coca-Cola, etc., tried to create a link, and they're very successful, create a link rather than sugar being the culprit, fat being the culprit. So that's why, fucking yogurt, right? All this low fat, no fat yogurt is so popular because, it has no fat in it, but it's got a shitload of sugar, sometimes added, sometimes not, but still. So you remember when fucking Jamba Juice and, whatchamacallit, and Pinkberry, Froyo, frozen yogurt, so deceptive because, it's healthy for you. Why? Because it got no fat. And it's tricky too because it tastes good, right? Because it's a lot of sugar. And so now I feel that modern society, we're essentially getting hijacked by these very deceitful, less than admirable peoples, where public policy, and most people are easily influenced and swayed and suckered. Most people don't have the leisure to do the research. So we're essentially our society is getting hijacked by these lobbying groups and private interest groups and so forth. Now, the very simple thing too is for you to be very suspicious of everything and everyone, and with any sort of thing in life, you yourself just follow your gut and be extremely suspicious of everyone, everything, even including yourself. So for example, why is there? Kind of cool. Interesting. That's a good thing about leaving your apartment. You'll see some funny things. But anyways, so taking back to the topic at hand. So it becomes kind of bad because everyone is so easily gullible from YouTube, Google, everything. As long as the money is being made via advertising, I think true knowledge and true wisdom and true ideas cannot really exist. So I think free thinking and advertising are essentially incompatible. So the reason why, for example, I have never deadlifted with straps or a belt or anything like that, but a lot of people who make their living selling the belts and stuff say you should have a belt. Now, should I trust, okay, so let's say there's a powerlifting YouTuber who's like, yo, you gotta use the belt if you deadlift over 400 pounds or 500 pounds, whatever, or else you'll hurt your back. Now, should you trust their opinion if they make their living selling weightlifting belts? Probably not. Similarly speaking, should you trust vegan YouTubers or fitness, gurus that eating vegan is good if they're selling vegan cookbooks. Probably not. And truth be told, you can't even trust Eric Kim, trust me 100% either, because I make my living from photography. So anything I say about photography, certainly it's in my best interest that you attend my workshops, buy my products, Haptic Industries, any Eric Kim products and whatnot. So certainly there's conflict of interest there, but at least you could trust a little bit more my opinions on diet, fitness, physiology, philosophy, and because that stuff's actually not really related to how I make my living. And also another reason why my opinion maybe is a little bit worse than other people is that I essentially live like a poor person. I have enough money to last me 5 lifetimes, and the only 2 things I spend money on is 1, rent, 2, buying meat, which I could buy 99 cents a pound for pork, chicken, and so forth. So adopting an aesthetic lifestyle of living like a super poor person has been hugely beneficial to me, because at least my opinions are a little bit more genuine than the average person. But anyways, don't even trust me. Just trust yourself and think for yourself. But anyways, so taking it back to conflict of interest, it's very simple. You just gotta follow the money. And it's not bad for people to try to make money, but just you as a private individual, and truth be told, as long as capitalism is based on deception, right, or playing with people's emotions or fears or FOMO and stuff like that, and that's just how it is. If you live in a modern capitalist society, if you have Amazon Prime, if you go to Whole Foods, you have a Netflix account, you have a Spotify account, whatever, you're implicated in the system. And no matter how virtuous you try to be, there's always going to be some exploitation somewhere. So let's say you're a vegan, you think killing and eating animals is bad, and you're eating lots of avocados and almonds. Guess who's the guy picking that? Probably poor Mexican who's getting exploited for his or her labor, getting paid under the table, whatnot. So essentially everything's a little bit fucked up in reality, and that's just the way the world is. And to think of a future or any future with 100% equality, equity, and stuff like that, I think it's a little bit fallacious to think that way. And so essentially I'm kind of more trying to encourage all of us to be a little bit more free thinking for ourselves, and also realizing that all morality and ethics is all subjective, and just don't let yourself be deceived and suckered. Do your own private research. Some practical thoughts. If you're studying anything about medicine, health, physiology, whatever, don't read blog posts, don't read websites. Go straight to PubMed or read the research articles, because you can even see a lot of the research articles are flawed in the sense that, for example, a lot of medical studies are borderline unethical insofar much as, let's say you're trying to do a study on, and this is where N of 1 studies, just self-experimentation is good, right? So probably one could not take children from birth and then feed half of them nothing but bacon and feed the other half nothing but quinoa and see what happens, because there's certain ethical problems there. Or similarly speaking, you cannot do these double-blind randomized studies on people, exposing them to something that actually might harm them, the saying first do no harm, the Hippocratic Oath. So most of these studies tend to be observational, which means we see a correlation, but it's not causation. And we cannot imply causation because, once again, there's no double-blind studies. So we even have to be a little bit skeptical of quote-unquote science and these peer-reviewed journals too, because sometimes, some people have conflicts of interest and we just don't know. They try to expose it, which is good, but, think about all the people on the stock market who are playing behind the scenes, and, can we trust them? I don't think so.